caravan and also what's going to happen in Venezuela going forward. If you've noticed, both of those things have dropped off of the news cycle now that the midterms are over, but I would expect them to come back at some point. It won't be long until at least part of that roughly 5,000 person caravan does eventually reach the United States border, and it also won't be long before someone decides to do something over Venezuela, or that crisis just continues to unfold as it is. And these are two things to be concerned about because they're human rights issues, essentially. And they're also security issues in the sense that these are people who are suffering. So you have Venezuela's economy, 1,000,000% inflation, 1,000,000%. That's a huge amount. Their economy is halved. You have 90% of Venezuelans living in poverty. Most of the people in the caravan are escaping horrible conditions, crime, political oppression, corruption. And so the question is, how do we help these people in a way that also upholds our concerns about security and also our concerns about making sure that things are stable? Because when there are vast movements of people, that disrupts societies around them, that disrupts local supplies, so whether that be medical, food, shelter, all of these things. And so I think that Trump really ought to be looking at coordinating international aid, helping local governments on the ground, right? If Trump is not willing to let a lot of people in, then what he should do is to say, all right, well then I'm going to work with, say, Colombia, which has let in almost 1 million Venezuelans, and say, how can we help you? How can we get the IMF involved, the Organization of American States, the United Nations, other people who have expertise to go on the ground and say, we're going to set up a well-run camp to help them out. That way they don't starve, that way we don't spread disease, that way the local populace doesn't get angry that their services are being overtaxed, overburdened. Help people out so eventually when the situation stabilizes, they can return to their homeland. Same with setting up processing centers, say perhaps in Mexico, or working with them so that if people want to settle from that caravan in Mexico, they should be able to do so. And if they come to the United States at a port of entry, they should be allowed, of course, to apply for asylum. Legally, that's the case. And I think that those are two issues that will come back to the news cycle.
Rachel, I definitely want your input in this line of questioning of John from national interest. Something that really has not been reported in detail is why Angela Merkel, the Chancellor of Germany, is not seeking another term. And her doom was the immigration issue. That is the issue that has really torpedoed her. Many of those countries did not want, just like what you're seeing now, those caravans trying to come in the United States. There was a time in Europe where they wanted that. They thought benevolence and kindness, all the things that John just mentioned, was what we should try to balance out. They tried everything that John just discussed. Guess what, Rachel? It didn't work. Not only did it work, it's costing her, literally, that position because Europe has turned away.